Hello, my name is Etie, and I'm joined by my colleagues Jose Bianchi, Benjamin Pierce, and Leslie Kong. We are the developers of GoGym. What is GoGym? GoGym is a cross platform personal trainer application, or as we like to call it, the personal trainer that fits in your pocket. Right now, there's a current lack of accessible, intelligent, and comprehensive fitness training applications on the market. Additionally, in person fitness coaches can be high in price and are often difficult to find that meet your busy schedule. GoGym strives to bridge that gap by providing user friendly, personalized, adaptable, and balanced fitness plans based on your preferences and your feedback. GoGym was built with a variety of technologies and frameworks, including Docker, MariaDB, Node.js, Google Firebase, and React Native. The goal of GoGym is to make it easy to start a tailored fitness plan, complete exercise training sessions, and track one's progress. The focus of development centered on reducing setup friction and making each workout session clear and actionable so you can stay on track without any unnecessary steps. GoGym is really the one-stop shop for all your workout and fitness needs and is usable on a variety of platforms and devices. There are many highlights with our application, starting with a seamless experience from creating an account all the way to starting the first workout with a click of a button. Users are guided through a quick survey that asks about fitness goals, plan durations, difficulty levels, and more, ensuring that each fitness plan is tailored just for them. Users can skip and swap out exercises that don't fit their needs, and progress is tracked and monitored, keeping the user motivated and engaged as they get closer to achieving their fitness goals. Lastly, users are provided with personalization, including toggling between dark and light mode, updating display names, and customizing avatars for their own profile. Now I'm going to pass it on to my colleagues so they can go over their incredible contributions and effort into making this app a success, starting with myself. My main responsibility was to implement the profile management and plan progression service into our application. This is where a user can update profile information, choose between avatars, and toggle between dark and light mode. In addition, the plan progression page displays statistics about a plan selected, including progression bar and completed workouts. The technologies I used were React Native for cross-platform front-end functionality, Node Express and MariaDB for my API calls, and Docker for my container. After my team agreed on role responsibilities, I jump-started development by creating a MariaDB server that my team could then connect to remotely. From there, I developed an initial front-end environment to get a baseline of where my pages were going to be located and how they were structured. I then developed my API endpoints and queries used for my services, followed by a core UI UX setup to help understand how I wanted the users to make these API calls. Lastly, I designed and connected the front end to my back end so data could be loaded and CRUD operations could be performed. There weren't many deviations from my original plan. At the beginning, I optimistically envisioned that a user was going to be able to upload their own photos to be used as an avatar. However, this did complicate the database structure and involved libraries I was unfamiliar with. So, due to time constraints, I stuck with having a predefined list of icons the user can choose from to use as their display photo. As far as challenges went, this was my first time developing a cross platform application, the first time I was exposed to many of these technologies used. Luckily, my team was very helpful in answering any questions I had when challenges emerged. In addition, I used library documentations and web searching to get myself familiar with how these were implemented. I learned that communication is key when developing on a team environment and got incredible exposure into how the Agile framework can be used in our favor. In addition, I learned a lot of new technologies I can use for my future projects. Moving on to my demo, you can see that I've separated out my files into their respective front-end and back-end directories, starting with the JSX files that handle page rendering, to my back-end API routes and queries, next to my front-end services that actually make those API calls. On the left, you can see my profile management page. This is where a user can switch between dark and light mode. They're able to update their avatars, and they can also update something like their username. That does get actively re-rendered on each update. Moving on to the plan progression page, a user can select between a set of created fitness plans. Under this profile, you can see I have two. My weight loss plan, I've had 18 days out of the 60 days completed, and all the completed exercises under that page or that plan. If we go to my marathon training plan, you can see I haven't had anything completed under this plan, thus no workouts being displayed. If we go over to this start workout session, you can see I can just go ahead and end a couple workouts here. Then if we go back to the plan progression page, you can now see that has been actively updated. 20 out of 60 days completed. That focus workout and leg day workout have now been displayed with their relative dates on completion.
Hi, my name is Jose Bianchi, and my part of the project focused on documentation, testing, and integration. My primary objective was building the Start Workout feature, which is able to retrieve a user's next workout and make updates to those workout plans. The last few weeks have been dedicated to end-to-end testing and improving the user interface, which is the screen display for the app. For my specific feature, I worked heavily with our SQL database that runs on MariaDB, using JavaScript methods to handle requests and React as the framework to create different components and pieces seen on the front end. The development process began with a lengthy discussion to align everyone's vision of the project. Once we agreed on a general team idea, everyone jumped into finding technologies and implementation methods to create the application. From there, we quickly divided up tasks and began developing. Lastly, we all tested the application a variety of ways and pushed updates accordingly. I originally had more visuals and options planned for my feature, but under the time constraints I had to prioritize main functionality, so some of these additions did not make it into the final version. Time management was the biggest challenge. This project could grow in numerous ways and I would enjoy making those improvements, but I have other responsibilities, so I had to accept what was feasible and stick to the plan and timeline. Overall, I learned communication is key when developing a full stack application with new teammates in a single semester. When everyone communicates, things get done very fast. With great communication, we feel confident to raise issues, have discussions, help each other, and provide detailed code reviews to keep the code base clean. While I go over my main efforts, please enjoy the short interaction of the Start Workout feature in this video. My main efforts are shown in the open files here. These bring the feature full circle from defining functions that query/interact with the database, as you can see here. Then we have the routes which interact with those functions. Next, we have the front end functions that make the requests using those routes. And lastly, we have the functions which display the data on the user's screen, as you can see here. And then these are split up into different components. Thank you, and this has been an overview of the Start Workout feature and my development work for this project.
My name is Leslie and I'm going to be going over my contributions for the GoGym app. So my primary contributions for this project were the login and authentication feature, as well as the fitness plan feature, in which users would be able to create and manage their fitness plans that will ultimately be used to generate workouts. Additionally, I handled the initial front-end setup, as well as the overall theming for the light and dark themes that we would incorporate into our application. As for technologies, we opted to use React Native and Expo for the cross-platform front-end benefits it provides. I opted to use Firebase authentication to handle the login and authentication feature. We also use Node/Express and MariaDB for our API and database needs. And we also use Docker and Git in order to collaborate and make sure we're all on the same page. So for the most part, the first sprint was focused on planning, brainstorming, and the setup of the development environments. The second sprint focused on the backend, ensuring that the database met our needs and our API calls worked. The third sprint was primarily dedicated to connecting the front end and back end together. And then the final sprint would be dedicated to finalizing the front end UI UX, cleaning up features, as well as fixing any bugs that we had along the way. So that was the original plan. I had one deviation in my development in which I pushed the development of the login and authentication feature entirely to the front. So I connected it to the backend front end, and as this feature would be necessary for all other features to work, and we didn't want to kind of have to build dummy code in order to test those features for dummy users. The biggest challenge I faced was just using so many technologies that I was unfamiliar with. So everything listed above, I had very little to no experience with. So because of this, I had to spend extra time in the beginning just to familiarize myself before development began. So outside of the new tools, I gained a lot of experience learning how full stack development works in practice. Other courses generally only cover one small aspect, but this course forced me to connect all those elements together to develop something that is tangible. I also developed my soft skills, which was very important for us to succeed as a four-man team. Now I'll be going over some of my code as well as overlaying the application showing off some of the features. So here's some of my code. I'm demoing some of my features. You'll see when I create an account, I can go back into the app and it'll automatically log into my previously logged in account. Here's some of my code for the create user and register pages, as well as the authentication pages. Here in the video, I'm going through creating a plan. So I'm going to create 2 plans, and then you can see how it looks on the manage plan page. You'll see that whenever I set a plan to active, there can only be one active plan at a time. So whenever I choose to update one to active plan, it will set the other plan to inactive. As you can see here, second plan is active and the first plan is inactive. If I set first plan to active, and then I go back and see, eventually see second plan, you'll see that it's inactive, in which case I decide to delete that plan. And that's my features. Thanks for watching.
Hello, I'm Benjamin Pierce. I'll be reviewing my portion of the final progress report of this project. So I built the smart plan skeleton and progression placeholders where the plans can be generated and stored. Placeholders are ready for RP-based updates from the user. And I also worked on the store workout flow and the workout swap service user interface. Some technologies we used Node Express and MariaDB for API and data storage, React Native Expo for a cross-platform user interface, Docker Desktop as a runtime container for the backend database stack, and Seeds migrations to keep data consistent for testing. For the steps in development, I built the workout plan service and database changes and completed start workout endpoints back end and front end, and added manual exercise swaps with quick fill suggestions, but we're going to go into that next. What was the original plan? What were the deviations? Well, we did plan for auto swap suggestions and quick fill suggestions, but preferred to manual swaps with suggestions to avoid a frustrated user experience in case they were given some suggestions that did not quite work out with the equipment they had, or just preferred not to do it. In fact, if we just have manual swaps in place, there are no suggestions at this point. That's something that we want to incorporate in the future. What were the challenges faced and how did you overcome them? Well, I aligned the schema and seeds so the planar, start, and soft flow stayed stable, fixed the create plan firing and active plan handling, and improved the workout generator to avoid repetitive workouts and tuned it for focus and difficulty. What I learned from this process and project, communicating with the team is essential for success, which we did very, very well through Discord. Also, starting early and budgeting time for integration and testing whenever the user interface structure changes or anything really changes is super important. And I think that's what my team did really well this quarter, is that we communicated and made sure we constantly tested to make sure all features were working properly. And I think that showed in all the PRs that we made in our GitHub repo. All right, so now going into the files. So fitness plans.js, on plan creation, we auto-save the workouts. So if someone has a specific focus, they can use a 4-day workout or any day workout tuned by difficulty. Otherwise, we'll pick 5 exercises per day by focus and goal and adjust reps by difficulty. All right. So we have all these options here: focus, goal, difficulty. The swap flow, workout swap service, and workout suggestion service. These all can update a plan exercise and can pick a compatible exercise by pattern equipment, and everything's kept clean in the services and database. And start workout main. It shows a workout card with pattern equipment tags, theme swap input, quick suggestions, and trigger manual swaps. So that's something we do that we do intend to incorporate in the future if we have more time, or if we want to work on this in the future as a future personal project, is to incorporate the quick suggestions and a more robust user experience as well. Adjusting when they, if they're doing a workout and the rating perceived exertion or RPE is a little too high or too low, they can adjust it. That way next week's workout is adjusted appropriately. So let's go into this. So just name it that. We're going to do 9-day workout plan. About 90 minutes of workout time, focus powerlifting, goal strength, difficulty level is 8, set as active plan, create fitness plan, see the Docker database updated, start. So gives us the exercise, sets, reps, RPE, and then you can enter replacement exercise. If you don't want to do back squats for whatever reason, we can do, let's say, goblet squats, like if we have an injury or something, and it changes it. You can see that it changed in the database there. Exercise, front squats, leg press, leg curl, calf raise. Complete. Let's work out. Barbell bench press. We don't have a barbell or a bench, or barbell bench, I should say. So let's go with dumbbell press swap. There we go. So that's something we want to work on in the future. Instead of doing manual swap, maybe we have a toggle here for auto swap. And then also to be able to edit these and input the RPE so that the database saves the user input so that it can automatically adjust for the reps next week. We'd also want to input the weight in here too. Continue on. And that is my demo. Thank you.
In conclusion, we feel like our team did a phenomenal job developing this cross-platform application to become what it is in under 10 weeks. For future development, a natural progression would be to deepen many of the features we already have implemented. This would include more comprehensive surveys for plan creation and expanding the database to include a further range of workouts to be used with each session. As of now, we do not have any plans for commercializing this application for the future. However, our team did a post-development analysis into what this would look like. We agreed that expanding database storage, increased security measures, front-end polishing, and many more aspects could be added to make this an outstanding commercial app. For now, we have decided to use this as a portfolio booster and could not have been more happy with the teamwork that went into making this project a success. We hope you enjoyed our presentation and thank you for watching.